Welcome to the Daily Vibecasting. Today, Google loses $250 billion in an AI brain drain, space infrastructure pivots to compute, and Mark Andreessen asks if cancer is writing op-eds.
I mean, that is just a completely wild lineup for today.
It really is. You might look at your timeline today and see, honestly, just total unfiltered chaos.
Right. It feels like everything is breaking at once.
Exactly. But beneath the noise, capital is fundamentally abandoning traditional empires to fund sovereign individuals. And the friction between the digital world and the physical world is hitting an absolute boiling point.
Yeah, the tension is palpable.
So we are taking this raw noise and stripping away the headlines to show you the hidden leverage points. We want you to see the second-order effects actively shaping the markets, tech, and culture right now. So let's just start with the $240 billion mistake Google just made.
We really are looking at a fundamental rewiring of how market value is calculated here.
Yeah.
Because there's this post from Pat Polymarket that broke down a massive 6% plunge in Google stock.
Right. And that erased over $240 billion in market capitalization, which is, a staggering number.
It's hard to even conceptualize that much money disappearing.
And the crazy part is the catalyst wasn't a botched product launch. It wasn't some major regulatory antitrust ruling coming down.
No, not at all.
That wealth vanished simply because 2 employees walked out the door. Noam Shazir went to OpenAI, and John Jumper went to Anthropic.
Just 2 guys.
Just 2 people. But I have to play devil's advocate here for a second. Is a single engineer really worth $120 billion to a company's market cap? Or is this just, an incredibly fragile market suffering from a massive overreaction to standard Silicon Valley personnel changes?
I mean, it definitely sounds like an overreaction until you look at the proprietary knowledge those specific individuals actually hold in their heads.
Right. They aren't just mid-level devs.
Exactly. These aren't just talented managers. Shazir practically co-authored the original Transformer paper. That is the literal mathematical architecture that makes modern large language models even possible.
Wow. Yeah, that's foundational.
And John Jumper, he won a Nobel Prize for AlphaFold, which completely revolutionized computational biology by using AI to predict protein structures. So the market isn't reacting to a loss of labor here. It is reacting to a collapse in institutional momentum.
Which makes sense when you look at the betting markets.
Yeah, at Polymarket's own betting odds currently give Google only an 11% chance of having the top AI model by July 2026.
11%. For the company that essentially invented the modern search era.
It's a massive fall from grace.
So the implication here is that individual top-tier talent now holds unprecedented leverage over the giants. You and I are used to a dynamic where capital dictates the terms to labor.
Always. That's the traditional power structure.
So in the frontier AI space, ultra-specialized labor is dictating the survival of the capital.
Because if you lose the, maybe few dozen people on Earth who actually understand the underlying physics of these neural networks, you don't just lose a quarter, you lose the entire next decade of the internet.
Yeah, investor confidence is entirely tethered to the AI arms race right now.
100%.
And while Google bleeds talent, the physical hardware war fueling that arms race is escalating to numbers that just completely defy logic. Let's look at the breaking news from @Kalshi regarding SpaceX.
This deal is fascinating.
They just signed a $6.3 billion deal with Reflection AI. And this gives them immediate, dedicated access to NVIDIA GB300 chips at the Colossus II data center down near Memphis.
The scale of that infrastructure is honestly difficult to even conceptualize.
Yeah.
We are talking about $150 million in monthly recurring revenue.
For an aerospace company.
Right, for SpaceX.
Which really raises the question of why an aerospace company is acting as the landlord for the most advanced compute on Earth.
Well, you have to look at the power requirements.
Exactly, because the GB300 chips aren't just fast. They require mind-bending amounts of energy, cooling, and physical space. SpaceX realized that their mastery of extreme industrial engineering translates perfectly into building gigawatt-scale data centers.
They already know how to build massive, complex physical infrastructure.
Right. But the partner here, Reflection AI, is really the more critical piece of the puzzle, I think, because they are an open-source frontier lab founded by ex-DeepMind and OpenAI researchers. And they are positioned specifically as a Western alternative to China's DeepSeek.
This is where it gets into geopolitics. We are witnessing the privatization of global defense strategy.
How so?
Because Reflection AI's mandate is to build open-weight models. And just to clarify, open weight means the underlying mathematical weights and the neural architecture are accessible to the public.
Right, so developers anywhere can download, modify, and build upon the frontier model.
Exactly. So the U.S. private sector is leasing excess supercomputer capacity, which was originally built for XAI, to basically flood the global market with Western open-source AI. It's a strategic move to severely undercut China's attempt to monopolize the space.
Wait, so are we democratizing power or democratizing extreme danger here?
That is the big question.
Because if the strategic playbook is to open source frontier level intelligence just to build a market firewall against China, aren't we essentially publishing the blueprints to the most powerful technology in human history on the open web? Like for any bad actor to just download.
That is the precise gamble the private sector is taking right now. And they're making that geopolitical calculation largely outside the purview of traditional statecraft.
They're just bypassing the government entirely.
Pretty much. Which perfectly illustrates the broader macro shift happening globally right now. The historical concept of empires and borders is it's evolving into a war for infrastructural dependence.
Yeah, and at Ray Dalio posted a really fascinating breakdown of this exact shift today because he just spent a month in Asia, including like 10 days meeting with senior policymakers in China.
And what was his main takeaway?
He argues that Beijing is rapidly expanding its influence, but not through traditional imperialism. Dalio claims they are reviving a modern version of the historical tribute system.
Ah, right. In the historical Asian tribute system, foreign powers would basically offer gifts and acknowledge China's absolute cultural and political centrality.
You're right.
And in exchange, Beijing would grant them highly lucrative trade privileges and military protection.
Exactly. And Dalio argues that today, Beijing is doing this by offering immense economic benefits, telecommunications infrastructure, and energy grids to emerging nations. The implicit cost of plugging into that infrastructure is recognizing Beijing as the center of the new technological world order.
So it's not about military conquest.
You know, they aren't conquering land, they are conquering the supply chain.
See, I look at Dalio's historical interpretation with a pretty heavy dose of cynicism.
Really? What?
Because he views the current U.S. diplomatic posture as showing restraint while all these world leaders flock to Beijing. But look at the SpaceX and Reflection AI deal we just dissected.
The compute deal.
Right. The United States isn't showing restraint. The U.S. government is simply outsourcing its hegemony to private infrastructure.
That's a great point.
Washington doesn't need to demand a diplomatic tribute if American companies control the underlying compute, the orbital satellite networks, and the foundational AI models the rest of the world relies on.
Yeah.
It is just two completely different operating systems for global dominance.
That makes total sense. And the downstream effect of all these billions pouring into compute and data centers is that the technology is trickling down to the application layer today. We are moving out of the theoretical arms race and into a reality where AI triggers immediate disruptive societal shockwaves.
The deployment wave is hitting white-collar workflows right now. It's not a future problem anymore.
Exactly. We are transitioning from AI as a conversational chatbot to AI as a fully autonomous agent. Let's look at the mechanics of what At-News Research just released.
This one is wild.
Their Hermes agent now supports computer use on Windows and Linux, utilizing an integration with Traqua. And this doesn't mean it just generates text in a browser window.
So it goes way beyond that.
It uses a vision language model to continuously screenshot your desktop, map a grid of X and Y coordinates over your actual user interface, and then executes physical cursor movements. It literally takes over the mouse and keyboard to click specific pixels and navigate standard operating systems.
Hold on, so it literally hijacks the cursor.
Literally takes control of your mouse.
If an autonomous AI agent has control of my desktop and, say, misinterprets a prompt like accidentally deleting a client's entire database instead of formatting it, who does my insurance company sue?
That is a legal nightmare.
The legal system is entirely unprepared for non-human actors operating software designed exclusively for human hands.
And the economic compression is just as severe as the legal risk. Look at the launch today from at 11 Labs. They introduced Ads Engine inside at 11 Creative.
Yeah, I saw this. You connect it via API directly into your Meta, Google, and LinkedIn ad accounts.
Right.
But what is the actual mechanism under the hood there? How does it do it?
So it takes your original English video ad and isolates the prosody. It measures the microscopic variations in pitch, the pauses for breath, and the exact emotional tremor in the voice actor's original performance.
Okay.
It then mathematically maps that exact acoustic architecture onto a completely new synthesized language output. So it perfectly translates the video into over 50 languages, localizes the visual text on the screen, and pushes it directly back to the ad platform to run in foreign markets.
Wow. The elimination of the production cycle is absolute.
Completely gone.
Think about a global localization agency. You need translators to write the script, local voice actors to record it, audio engineers to mix it, and project managers to coordinate all that delivery. 11 Labs just compressed a global multi-week supply chain into a single automated API call.
Yep. The labor market for repetitive digital tasks is just evaporating in real time. But, the automation of labor is one thing. The automation of identity is far more invasive.
This is where things get really dystopian.
Vitalik Buterin, the creator of Ethereum, is currently running an experiment that tests the limits of AI stylometry. And the implications for online anonymity are just staggering.
Stylometry being the algorithmic analysis of linguistic style.
Yeah.
So measuring how you write rather than just reading what you say.
Exactly. Think of it like a DJ's mixing board. You and I might share the exact same vocabulary. We both use words like infrastructure or hegemony. But an AI doesn't just look at the track list. It analyzes how high you turn up the bass on your commas. It measures the specific treble of your transition words, the rhythm of your paragraph breaks, and your idiosyncratic capitalization. It isolates the acoustic signature of your actual thought process.
That is deeply unsettling.
So Vitalik challenged the Ethereum community, stating he wrote an anonymous document of medium importance somewhere on the forums this decade, and he literally dared them to use AI to find it.
He is deliberately cannibalizing a piece of his own anonymity to prove a point about the fragility of the modern internet.
Yes, exactly. Now, the early results are mixed. The community hasn't definitively unmasked the specific document yet, which proves that isolating a single match in a massive sea of highly technical jargon still requires immense computational effort.
But the current failure rate is completely irrelevant. The trajectory is what matters.
Right. The tech is only getting better.
Because the second-order effect of stylometry is terrifying for whistleblowers, for journalists operating in hostile regimes, and for pseudonymous founders in the crypto space. If an AI can unmask your legal identity simply by reverse engineering the cadence of your keystrokes, the concept of an anonymous source disappears entirely. The internet fundamentally loses its primary defense mechanism against authoritarian surveillance.
Which perfectly explains why a massive culture war is erupting around the speed of this technological deployment. People are experiencing profound psychological whiplash.
Oh, without a doubt.
Mark Andreessen at PMarca posted a screenshot today that captures this philosophical collision perfectly. He shared an article from The Atlantic written by Emma Pearson, who is an AI professor at UC Berkeley.
And she is arguing that we need to deliberately slow down AI development to preserve societal stability.
Right.
Even if that delay comes at an extreme cost to human life.
That is the absolute crux of the debate, because Professor Pearson acknowledges in her own piece that AI could slash cancer mortality rates by up to 95%, but she still advocates for slowing it down.
Wow.
And Andreessen sarcastically quote-tweeted it, asking, "Did cancer rate this?"
We really have to unpack the deep philosophical tension here. Because Professor Pearson actually carries a genetic mutation that puts her at high risk for cancer, and she recently underwent preventative surgery herself.
Yeah, she mentions that in the piece.
Yet she explicitly states she would rather wait longer for an AI-driven cure to give society more time to adapt to white-collar job losses, structural inequality, and the security threats we just discussed. She is willing to absorb that personal biological risk to mitigate what she views as a catastrophic societal collapse.
It's intense, because how do you reconcile pausing a tool like AlphaFold, which is actively mapping the proteins necessary to cure debilitating diseases today, just to buy time for localization agencies and data entry clerks to find new jobs?
You are looking at the defining tribal split of 2026.
The accels versus the decels.
Exactly. On one side, you have accelerationists like Andreessen, who believe the moral imperative is to push forward at all costs to unlock life-saving progress.
Right.
And on the other side, decelerationist argue that the fabric of society simply cannot survive the economic shock of ubiquitous, superintelligent AI. The D-Sills believe an immediate cure for cancer is a Pyrrhic victory if the resulting technology simultaneously destroys the global economy and eradicates human privacy.
Well, let's ground this high-level digital philosophy in physical reality for a second, because these macro shifts in tech, labor, and capital are profoundly changing how humans interact with their physical environment.
It's already changing our cities.
Yeah, there's a viral observation from @growing_Daniel about the shifting landscape of New York City that highlights this beautifully.
Right, he was analyzing the historical origins of the phrase, the city that never sleeps.
Because New York didn't get that nickname because of Wall Street bankers or Madison Avenue marketing executives staying up late.
No, they go home.
It earned that title through massive, grueling industrial infrastructure. In the mid-20th century, the city had over 1 million manufacturing jobs. Factories ran 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And the mechanics of shift work dictate the mechanics of the city.
Exactly. When you have hundreds of thousands of people getting off shifts at 2 in the morning and 6 in the morning, an organic, robust ecosystem naturally forms around them.
Diners have to stay open.
Bodegas stock fresh produce all night. The transit system has to function at full capacity. It created a constant, vibrating energy. But today, manufacturing in NYC has dropped to around 70,000 jobs.
Which is a huge drop.
Daniel points out that the organic 24-hour energy is fading because the economy is entirely reliant on finance and tech. And those people sleep at night.
Well, the deindustrialization started the trend, but the automation of convenience really finalized it.
What do you mean?
The modern gig economy operates on a completely different physical footprint. You don't need a brightly lit communal diner on your corner at 3 a.m. if a gig worker can just pick up an order from a windowless ghost kitchen and deliver it directly to your lobby.
That's depressing but true.
Delivery apps and remote work have severed the necessity for physical, late-night civic infrastructure. The city basically becomes a collection of private pods rather than a shared public square.
But I challenge the premise that the organic energy of the city is dead. I don't think it's dead. I think it is just being reallocated toward experiences that cannot be digitized.
Okay, give me an example.
Look at the footage at Fox News this afternoon. An overwhelming sea of red completely took over the TKTS steps right in the middle of Times Square. Thousands of Norwegian football fans who were in town for the World Cup match against Senegal at MetLife Stadium, they executed this synchronized, thunderous Viking rowing chant.
Oh yeah, and they took over the subway cars doing the exact same chant.
Yes. And the public reaction to that post was universally positive. People are craving that raw intensity. Because in a timeline dominated by deepfakes, AI-generated localization, and synthetic styling, you cannot prompt an AI to replicate the visceral acoustic shockwave of 5,000 people chanting in perfect unison in the center of Manhattan.
It's true. The more automated the corporate world becomes, the higher the premium we place on non-promptable human connection. People are just starved for experiences that require physical presence and collective emotional energy.
And that deep hunger for authentic reality bridges directly to the public's total exhaustion with manufactured media narratives.
Well, absolutely.
There is a throwback post going massively viral today from @Greg_Price11. It features a clip from an MSNBC broadcast back in 2020.
Right, the Memorial Day broadcast from Lake Geneva, Wisconsin.
The setup is incredible. A masked reporter is broadcasting live on camera, standing in a crowded public area, expressing all this outrage that the local citizens are ignoring social distancing rules and refusing to wear masks.
Classic 2020.
Right in the middle of her moral grandstanding, a man on the street walks into the frame, points directly at the camera crew and says, including the cameraman.
I remember this.
The camera awkwardly pans, revealing that the MSNBC cameraman standing 2 feet away from her is completely maskless. And the reporter just freezes on live television.
So the sociological question is, why a 6-year-old clip of a local news broadcast currently has over 40,000 likes today?
Exactly. Why now?
I don't think it's about the politics of 2020. It serves as a historical monument to narrative collapse.
That's a good way to put it.
When people watch that clip today, they aren't debating the epidemiological policies of 6 years ago. They are validating their own generalized distrust of institutional curation.
Yes. The public has developed a photographic memory for media double standards.
They remember the exact moment they realized the people enforcing the narrative were living by a completely different set of rules. And that specific realization is the lens through which the public views every single story we discussed today.
That connects perfectly.
It is why they instinctively assume Google's PR regarding their AI roadmap is a fabrication. It is
Okay.
why they assume policymakers flocking to Beijing are selling out national security for personal leverage. It is why they mock an Atlantic op-ed that asks them to sacrifice a medical breakthrough to protect administrative jobs. The baseline frequency of the modern internet is a total, uncompromising rejection of the curated narrative.
I think you nailed it. Let's synthesize the timeline here. We started with the revelation that an individual engineer's proprietary knowledge can swing a corporate valuation by $250 billion.
Huge leverage shift.
Then we watched the physical infrastructure of the space race pivot to house the computational engines of the AI arms race. We examined an internet where algorithms can perfectly clone your voice in 50 languages and identify you just by the acoustic rhythm of your typing.
And the pushback against all of that.
Right, downstream of all that digital acceleration, we found a physical world where humans are desperately nostalgic for the organic energy of a factory-driven city. They are craving the unvarnished reality of a World Cup chant and utterly rejecting the polished hypocrisy of institutional media.
Based on the collision of all these trends, I have a pretty clear prediction for tomorrow.
Let's hear it.
As AI agents seamlessly hijack our operating systems and synthetic media perfectly automates our corporate ad campaigns, we will see the emergence of a massive, highly lucrative premium placed on human-verified physical spaces.
Like digital free zones.
Basically, the market will gladly pay an exorbitant premium for raw, unedited live media streams and in-person communal experiences where digital enhancement is explicitly banned. As the digital world perfects its ability to fake reality, unvarnished physical reality becomes the ultimate luxury asset.
Unvarnished reality as a luxury asset. I love that. Which leaves you with the profound question to chew on as you navigate the noise today. If an AI can soon perfectly mimic your voice, localize your face across the globe, and even unmask your identity by analyzing the microscopic rhythm of how you type, what is the one uniquely human trait you possess that absolutely cannot be computed or cloned?
That is the question.
Something to mull over. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow on the Daily Vibecasting.